What's up, everybody? It's Ty the Bourbon Guy, and welcome back to the 25 Days of Whiskey. Today is day 20. I can't believe we're still going, but we are. Today, we are going to discuss Wild Turkey Rare Breed. Whether you're getting into whiskey or whether you're heavy into the game, whatever the case is, I'm pretty sure you've at least heard about this bottle, let alone maybe tried it. This is one that is a fantastic bottle. It is one that I've heard a lot of people say beat out some of the BTAC stuff or Pappies and all the other fancy stuff that everybody loves to chase when they drink it blindly and not know what it is that they're drinking, and then they put Rare Breed in the mix. And some people have said that Rare Breed has won for them. I mean, that's how good this whiskey is, and that's the potential that it has to be. I think within whiskey, when you're talking about price and availability, that is what starts to alter it a little bit. I think the perception, I have the same view about Maker's Mark. Maker's Mark is widely available and has a great price point for all of their whiskeys. Same with Wild Turkey. I think Wild Turkey makes fantastic whiskey, and I think their price points are fantastic and they're widely available. So because of that, I don't know. I think it sometimes just doesn't get the credit it deserves. Maker's Mark, I feel like that can be the case. Wild Turkey, however, I think Rare Breed and Wild Turkey 101 seem to really get the credit they deserve. I think they're on everybody's lists ever for anything. Whether it's drinks for the holidays, gifts to give, top bourbons to try, top bourbons for beginners, whatever the list is, I'm sure that either 101 or Rare Breed are on there for sure. That's just kind of, the way that everybody's gone with it. It can feel like when we make these lists that everybody's just kind of picking the same whiskeys over and over again. So I always try to go in a different direction or try to find other whiskeys that maybe nobody else is looking at. But at the end of the day, I still have to come back to Rare Breed. It is just that good. And again, widely available. Depending on where you live, I can find this anywhere from $45 to $60-ish in my area. So I think it's just one that's a fantastic bottle. The only gripe that I have with it is when beginners ask, what's a good bourbon? I currently drink Woodford Reserve, or, is that a good bourbon? Or, whatever the case is. And I constantly see people say Old Forester 1920 and Wild Turkey Rare Breed. And while I would agree that these are amazing whiskeys, when I first got into whiskey, 80 proof was way too hot for me. And even dropping a bunch of ice in it, drinking it on the rocks, it was still like I was getting used to the bourbon flavor. So even though lower proof whiskeys don't necessarily, well, I'll back that up, lower proof bourbons specifically don't always provide as much flavor, whereas maybe like a lower proof Scotch or a lower proof single malt might actually have a little bit more flavor within there. Even though lower proof bourbons don't provide as much flavor as maybe a higher proof, I think when you're getting into the whiskey game, you're just trying to acclimate yourself to the bourbon flavor itself. And from there, once you have that, I think then you can kind of pick out these different notes. I am just in the belief that if I go recommend, this bottle is 116 proof, Old Forester 1920 is 115 proof. If I go recommend those proofs to somebody that's just starting with whiskey, I don't know if that's going to make them want to keep doing this. I mean, there's plenty of people that seem to love it, and you can always drop ice in it, or you can add water, or even mix it, or whatever the case is. It's definitely going to hold up, that's for sure. It's just something that I personally feel like when I know that this is somebody that's getting into whiskey or just beginning their whiskey journey, I don't want to recommend this purely off the proof point, not because this isn't a good whiskey or anything like that. This is one that I feel like, because of the availability of it, again, at least in my area, I don't always open up all these other bottles that I have or some of the rare stuff. And, I get that. A lot of people say, open up your bottles. And everybody seems always interested in everybody else's whiskey collection. But my thing, and I understand that to a certain point, my whole thing is when people are here, friends and family, we will open any bottle that they want to try 100%. No gripe, nothing like that. Any bottle that they want to open, let's go for it. But when it's just me sitting at home and there's something I want to try, or I just want a good, barrel strength whiskey or something very high proof, I'm going to probably reach for Wild Turkey Rare Breed. It's just something that is, that spice is definitely there, especially in the fall, winter time. It's going to warm you. It's going to just give you some of those notes that make you just feel like that time of year. The baking spices and the oak, and it's just It's just something about it for sure that time of year. Now, when we get to the summertime, I don't want to deal with a rare breed at all, unless I'm putting it in a cocktail or something like that. But I have other whiskeys for that purpose. So this is one that I try to just drink neat. It's one that I would recommend to somebody that's more experienced with whiskey and somebody that can handle the higher proofs. If you know that about yourself, that I just don't like higher proof whiskey, that's absolutely okay. This just might not be one that I would recommend. If you want to try Wild Turkey products, there's a few others that maybe, try before. I would suggest Kentucky Spirit or Wild Turkey 101, some of those. And those are lower price points as well. That may help. Just to kind of understand what Wild Turkey is about. I think if you understand Wild Turkey 101 or if you've had it, if you don't like Wild Turkey 101, you're not going to like Rare Breed. So if you're kind of just getting into it, I would try that. If you try 101 and the proof is, you're good with it, you're ready for something to make that jump, then yeah, go ahead and try it. It's definitely one that I'd say just go ahead and buy it. Great bottle. I love what Wild Turkey does in general. They offer something for everybody, in my opinion. Their ryes are very good, in my opinion. So overall, the whiskey that they're putting out, fantastic. I still like the Russell's store picks more than this, but the Russell store picks for me are pretty special, so I kind of don't reach for them as often as I might the Rare Breed, but doesn't matter. This is still a fantastic bottle. Absolutely. I highly recommend it. Thank you for being here today for day 20. You've been here this long. Like, subscribe, comment, do other things. And I will see you tomorrow for day 21. Cheers.